Imagine this, a quiet, chilly night. Chris Washington, a talented young African-American photographer, is packing for a weekend trip to meet the parents of his girlfriend, Rose Armitage. They seem like a sweet couple, and Chris is naturally a bit anxious.
Do they know I'm black?
He asks Rose, slightly nervous. She reassures him with a smile. "Don't worry, babe. My parents are cool."
They are not racist.
As they drive through the countryside, the woods start to close in around them, their shadows long and eerie under the moonlight. Suddenly, a deer darts out and they hit it, the collision jarring. Shaken, they report the accident to a white police officer who immediately questions Chris, even though Rose was driving. Rose defends Chris, and they continue on their way, but the encounter leaves a bitter taste.
Are you ready?
Finally, they arrive at the Armitage family's sprawling estate. Dean Armitage, Rose's father, is a jovial neurosurgeon who tries too hard to show he's not racist. He repeatedly says,
I would have voted for Obama for a third term if I could. Best president in my lifetime, hands down.
Missy Armitage, Rose's mother, is a calm and collected hypnotherapist. Their demeanor is friendly, yet something feels off. The house itself feels like it's watching. Chris meets the family's black servants, Georgina and Walter. Their behavior is peculiar. Georgina seems almost robotic, and Walter is unnervingly intense. Chris shrugs it off, attributing it to his own paranoia. But that night, as he steps out for a smoke, Missy invites him in for a hypnosis session to cure his addiction. He reluctantly agrees. Under Missy's spell, Chris finds himself sinking into the sunken place, a void where he has no control over his body.
Now you're in the sunken place.
He's terrified but powerless. When he wakes up, he thinks it was just a strange dream, but now he feels different. The next day, there's a large gathering at the Armitage estate. The guests, all white, seem overly interested in Chris, asking invasive questions about his physique, his blackness, and even his sex life.
Okay.
Oh.
Not bad. Hey, Nielsen?
It feels like they're sizing him up. The only other black person at the party, Logan King, behaves strangely, as if he's not himself.
Of course it is.
When Chris tries to secretly snap a photo of Logan, the camera flash causes Logan to have a violent outburst, screaming, "Get out! Get out of here!" Shaken, Chris calls his friend Rod, a TSA officer, who is immediately suspicious and urges Chris to leave.
Oh, shit!
Chris, you gotta get the fuck up out of there, man. You in some eye wide shut situation. Leave, motherfucker.
Meanwhile, Chris learns from a local art dealer that Logan is actually Andre Hayworth, a man who went missing months ago. As Chris prepares to leave, he finds a box of photos revealing that Rose had many black boyfriends before him, all of whom have disappeared. Realization dawns. She's been luring black men to her family. He confronts Rose, but it's too late. The Armitages trap him, and Rose's demeanor changes from sweet to sinister.
You know I can't give you the keys, right, babe?
Chris is restrained in the basement, where he learns the horrifying truth. The Armitages transplant the consciousness of their elderly white friends into the bodies of young black people. The procedure will leave Chris in the sunken place forever, his body a mere vessel. Using his wits, Chris manages to outsmart and overpower his captors. He uses cotton from the chair to plug his ears, blocking the hypnotic cues. He escapes, brutally taking down Dean, Missy, and Jeremy Armitage in a desperate fight for his life. Outside, Chris encounters Rose and a brainwashed Walter.
Get him, Grandpa.
In the struggle, he breaks the spell over Walter, who then turns the gun on himself and Rose. As Rose lies bleeding, Chris begins to choke her, but ultimately can't bring himself to kill her. Suddenly, police lights flood the scene. Chris raises his hands, fearing the worst. But it's Rod, his friend,
Shit!
who has come to the rescue. Rod helps Chris into the car, and they drive away, leaving the horrors of the Armitage estate behind. As they drive into the night, Chris, battered but free, takes a deep breath. The nightmare is over, but the scars will remain.